Hey, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel of me documenting me making my first feature film. And I'm documenting it all here on this channel from start to finish. And I want to tell you how last week went and how this week is going. So, this was week number 2 of me really diving back into writing. And I gotta say, I fucking love it. Writing is so much fun, and I totally have forgotten it. And it's crazy because it's the thing that got me into all of this to begin with. So I don't know if you knew this about me, but I initially what really got me into filmmaking was acting. I was an actor for many years. I went to school for acting. I did conservatory training. And then I really fell in love with screenwriting. I wanted to write things that I could act in because I didn't really like auditioning and stuff. So I started screenwriting and I started writing so much. Like, I mean, literally, like all the time. I would write on my off days. I would go to coffee shops and I would just like write, in hopes that one day it would be made. But what was ended up happening was I just kept writing. And then eventually I said, you know what, Nick? You've been in the entertainment industry for 5 years doing location scouting. Why don't you reward yourself and you make one of your projects? So that's what I did with Flowers, which is the short film on this channel. It's also on my ASMR channel and it has it's at like 450,000 views. It's insane. So grateful for you guys really spearheading that. But I did Flowers sort of as a reward for me working really hard. And I fell in love with directing through that. And it's just really cool because when you're a writer director, at least for me, and I hope I can be better at kind of balancing everything. My personality type is I kind of like drive ahead. I love being passionate about things and then like going that way. I can work on balance. That's what we're working on. But it's funny, when I was writing and directing, like with Flowers, I eventually gave up writing because I was focusing on directing. I was focusing on, you shoot it and then you edit it, right? And so to go from this process for this film, I have been, this is a way bigger project than Flowers. And Flowers really proved to me that I can storytell and that I should go for the feature film, which is this. This is the road trip film. This film is, I've been working on writing this film for 3 years now, and it actually was generated while I was generating Flowers. So this film has been with me for a bit, and I've been doing drafts for over 3 years. Now, not consistently. I think my last draft was literally a year ago when I went to a writer's retreat in Portland, Oregon to really generate it. But it's been in my head for a really long time. And so what's been nice is I was doing crowdfunding the last few weeks, like 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and that is such a different energy than writing because it's so like outward facing. It's so like performative, which I love, but it's so different. And coming back into writing, it is so nice because it really teaches you to be messy and raw and to be comfortable with things not being great and to push past the discomfort, because when you do, things generate. I think so much a part of my life, and I'm used to, is like if something feels uncomfortable, you try and pivot. You try to really, you try and find the more comfortable thing. And with writing, it is uncomfortable. I sit down at the desk. If you've ever written or done art, you sit down and you go, okay, let me face this. And I feel really proud of myself because I've really locked in the habit. This week and last week, my goal, like this last week and the week before that, my goal was to get back into a writer's routine. And I gratefully can say I've written every morning for the last 2 weeks for an hour. First thing I do when I wake up, except for yesterday, I had a medical thing, but that's a whole other side story. But yeah, it's been so awesome to really come back, and instead of it living in my head, if I'm attacking the page every day, I actually know I'm working towards the feature. Now you might be like, Nick, where are you with the writing and everything? So I am currently crystallizing my story. So my story, the way that I write is I basically have visions. I visualize. I love seeing what will be on screen and then bringing that into a film. So when I did this story originally, I did an impulse draft. I love, if you have never done it, you should do it. You should just literally sit down, come up with like a premise and just write and see what happens. I did that for this film, and I came up with these really great beats, but they don't work. First drafts usually never really work cohesively. And then I did another draft after that. I used to really just like rewrite the full draft. There's a new method which I'm attempting, which is, I'm talking way too fast. I need to slow down. Sometimes I can't breathe because I talk so fast. I used to write in a way where I would go draft over draft over draft. I'd start from the beginning and then I would go to the end. And then I would read it and I go, okay, let's do it again. That is one way I've written. The more traditional way, which I'm trying to really do now, is you structure everything before you write. So you do beats, you then do your outline, you then do your scene outline, and then you put what's going to be in every scene, and then you write. Dialogue comes last. So I'm going down that route, but I just want to say I'm really loving this process because it's really messy, but it's exciting to be kind of like crystallizing a lot of things. I'm trying to really crystallize and simplify my story so it's shootable. And so it has the most impact. And a lot of that means knowing what the through line is. So reading your drafts and really uncovering, being like, okay, what is the actual moments that are happening and what is the through line and what do we want to emphasize and what do we want to pull away? And that's like the hardest thing is when you're writing, you have to be okay with letting all of it go. You have to be okay with saying, I love this scene, but it might not work. I love this character, but we might not have him. We might not have her. I love this plot point, but we might not need it. You know, like it's really just allowing yourself to say, okay, I don't know if I need this. That's really scary. But then what becomes fun eventually is when you realize that you go through that, you can actually generate and you can amplify your story in a way that is more truthful. I think a lot of the times our first decisions are made because we think it's the easiest thing to do. And when you really when you reanalyze it, you actually can really go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more raw, get the cooler decision out there. So yeah, this week has been great for writing. It's been hard. I'm not gonna lie, like some mornings I don't really want to write, but I still do. And I'm very proud of myself. And yeah, next week, so I'm going to still be writing. My whole goal is to really generate a really good draft that's shootable. The draft I did like a year ago that I did before crowdfunding, it's there. My story is there. I have the story. It's now just more technical stuff and more crystallizing things down a bit. Instead of it being something that, for instance, this is like, I feel uncomfortable because sometimes I feel like a fraud. Like, I don't know if I can actually do all this, but it means like, instead of me explaining to you what's happening in the story, it's just now making sure the story shows itself, if that makes sense. So yeah, next week I'm just doing the same thing. I'm going to be writing. I am hopefully going to be now getting into actually rewriting the draft. So I've been kind of for the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to outline and get ready to write again. And then hopefully this week I will write again. I don't know if I'm ready yet, to be honest. So we'll see how that goes. I think I need one more week of outlining, and then the week after that I'll go. But what's really cool is I keep thinking I'm not close, but I realize the things I'm really circling about or being like really like hard on myself are all like the little things. The big things are all there, like who the characters are, what's happening on the story, what are the plot points, what is the climax, what are we supposed to feel, what's the takeaway, like all of that is there. Where, like, what is the setting, what is the relationship of settings and character, like all of it's there. It's just like little things of like, how does the story really begin, and like what other things can happen on the trip that might amplify the meaning of the message. Like, it's all those little things that are really fun, but eventually I need to just pick and move. So I'm processing being decisive. But yeah, it's been really nice working on it every day because it really allows me to realize, oh, I'm putting in the work. And my writing, I'm just going to say this before I head out, but My writing routine is cool because I based off of Atomic Habits, but the way I do it is I have a trigger. I'm creating a habit. I have a trigger. So my trigger is either coffee or I sit down at the table and I play jazz music. Triggers me into writing. I then write for an hour and then I reward myself. It sounds so dumb, but it really works. Is I put like a marble in a jar and it helps, like literally even the sound of a marble makes me be like, oh, that's a reward. And then I do a checkbox on a piece of paper, and it like puts in my head that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. So it's been cool. But yeah, that's how this week's been, and I'll let you know how next week goes. Videos are every Sunday. Let me know if you want any type of videos. I'm just documenting everything, but I am so grateful you're here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.